This video will demonstrate the piston ring replacement process for a Blackmer LB601 compressor, but is typical for other Blackmer reciprocating gas compressors. To complete this process, you will need a soft-faced hammer and a 3-inch adjustable spanner wrench. First, place the spanner wrench into the holes on the piston lock nut and tap the spanner wrench counterclockwise with a hammer a few times to loosen the lock nut. Note, if the lock nut seems overly tight, it may be necessary to use a second spanner wrench to hold the piston while loosening the piston lock nut. Use the spanner wrench to remove the piston lock nut. In some instances, the piston will unscrew with the lock nut, which is okay, but never attempt to unscrew the piston without first removing the piston lock nut. Next, attach the spanner wrench to the piston. Use the hammer to tap the spanner wrench counterclockwise and loosen the piston, and then use the spanner wrench to remove the piston. Use the same procedure to remove the second piston. Be careful to prevent dirt or debris from falling into the cylinder bores. This can be accomplished by performing the procedure in a clean environment whenever possible. Make sure piston shims remain on each piston rod once the piston is removed. As shown here, each piston has 3 piston rings. Beginning at the top, remove the piston ring and the ring expander underneath it. Remove the remaining piston rings and ring expanders. There are 6 piston rings and 6 ring expanders included in a top-end repair kit. Repair kits contain replacement parts for both pistons. To begin, turn the piston upside down so that you can replace the bottom piston ring first. Place the piston ring expander into the groove. Then place the piston ring on top of the ring expander, being sure to place the open end of the piston ring opposite the open end of the ring expander. Turn the piston over so it rests right side up. Replace the remaining expander rings and piston rings, starting with the middle ring and then the top piston ring. To protect against leakage and ensure the best possible seal, the gaps in each of the piston rings should be offset by 120 degrees, or 1/3 of a turn. If the piston ring gaps are inadvertently lined up, as shown here, a straight channel is formed, making the piston susceptible to leakage. To install the piston, turn the flywheel until the piston rod is low enough in the cylinder that the entire piston and all the rings can be lowered into the cylinder bore. This will make it easier to install the piston into the bore. Before installing piston, make sure that the piston thrust washer and any shims are reinstalled just as you found when the piston was removed. For simple ring replacement, no additional adjustments to piston shims should be required. While compressing the rings with your fingers, slide the piston into the cylinder bore, allowing the piston to gently drop on top of the piston rod. Turn the flywheel so the piston rises to top dead center, and then use the spanner wrench to tighten the piston. As the piston screws onto the rod, it may be necessary to turn the flywheel to bring the piston back to top dead center point so that the final tightening can be done with the spanner wrench. Use a torque wrench to tighten the piston to IOM specifications. Checking or changing piston clearance is not required for a simple ring replacement. For information on this, refer to our video on piston clearance measurement. Finally, replace the piston lock nut and tighten with the spanner wrench. Use a torque wrench to tighten lock nut to IOM specifications. This concludes the piston ring replacement process for a Blackmer LB601 reciprocating gas compressor.